Welcome to a good old AJ Sports Podcast, episode 10. Yeah, episode 10. Yeah, last week didn't go so well. I had computer issues, uh, so that's all fixed. So I couldn't record any games last week. So I'm gonna do something a little unorthodox. I'm gonna do the college football first, and I'll talk about like the MLB like division series, wild cards, that stuff. I think it's a little mixed. I want to make an MLB video separate, but I think we should be fine. So let's start off the Thursday games. West Virginia upsets Baylor. Baylor is 3-3. Baylor seems to be a team that was kind of favored to win the Big 12. Those chances are, in my opinion, gone. West Virginia is not that good. They're mediocre. They lost to a mediocre team. And UCF's 5-1. They destroyed Temple 70-13. I haven't never watched that game. Rest in peace. Now this is where the fun starts. Georgia was ranked number one in the country, and they had full intentions in staying that way. They obliterated Vandy 55-14. Georgia no longer playing down to its competition. They're dominating like they're supposed to again. The game of the year, Alabama travels to Tennessee. Tennessee is having their biggest season in years. Tennessee they haven't beat Alabama like over 15 years. I think it was 16 years in exact. That ended. It was a shootout. Bryce Young played. He dotted up Tennessee's weak link, which is their secondary. Jameer Gibbs had some plays, but Hendon Hooker made some plays as well. Tennessee did a good balance. The team averaged 4.7 yards per carry. That's pretty good. That'll set you up very good. And what's this guy's first name? Everybody knows his last name at this point. Jalen Hyatt. That guy went off. 6 catches. I'm a little surprised he only had 6 catches because 5 of them were touchdowns. Most of them were deep ball throws where Hendon Hooker just fired it deep, and Hyatt just burnt all those corners. And then Alabama failed to. I thought Alabama was going to get that final drive going. That didn't work. And Hendon Hooker for 2 absolute dots to set up the game-winning field goal. Partially blocked, too. Partially blocked field goal. 40 yards. It went through. Everybody in Neyland Stadium went crazy. It was a yellow-orangish fest. That's what it was. It was a game to remember for all Tennessee fans. This is the most significant win in the history of Tennessee's program since 1998. It has been a long time. It's been like the early 2000s is when Tennessee was truly relevant into the college football landscape. They're starting to really become relevant now. I have my TV on, so the Yankees and Astros game is just about to get on. Clemson 7-0. They beat Florida State. Clemson was kind of cruising a little bit, but Florida State did score 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Make it a little interesting, but Clemson finished it off. They won 34-28. Michigan destroyed Penn State. It took a while for them to destroy them because it was kind of a weird first half. Michigan was up 16-14, and then it was just a slaughter. Like Michigan totally dominated Penn State in the second half. It was not even funny. It was not even a contest. Sean Clifford again fails to win any big games. The passing game once again was not good, but who the hell needs a passing game where Donovan Edwards and Blake Corum are just running down their throats? 418 total rushing yards, 7.5 yards per carry for Michigan. Absolutely ridiculous. Michigan utterly dominated Penn State. I want to see both Michigan and Ohio State play each other undefeated. Oh my God, that'll be That'll be a game. USC, I thought USC was going to go undefeated till the UCLA game. Well, Utah, they played the rules. Spoilers. Utah was so pissed of their disappointing season. They thought they had a chance to make the playoffs. That is gone. But hey, they gave USC one of these. And Cameron Rising plays his best game of the year. Caleb Williams was dotting them up at the same time, but Utah had the last strike. They went on the 2-point conversion. Screw tied this game. We are at home, and Utah wins 43-42. Another big. There's a lot of big games this week. Very exciting week. Oklahoma State travels to Fort Worth, Texas, to take on TCU, who is undefeated, and they stay undefeated. Oklahoma State was ahead much of the entire game until the fourth quarter. That's where TCU kept up two big drives and took the game into overtime. It took double overtime. TCU scored on a 2-yard touchdown run. Max Duggan is probably the best quarterback in the Big 12. Man, what a big time hire that was to hire Sonny Dykes, because TCU's offense has been non-existent for years. They're back out there, and a huge win for TCU. Ole Miss stays undefeated. Not a win, and they beat Auburn. I was not satisfied. Auburn has no offense, but they dropped 34 points on Ole Miss. I'm not satisfied with that one. Good win by Ole Miss. You still won the game, but that need, come on. It's Auburn, one of the worst offenses in the SEC. Come on, man. You're looking at your offense is pretty ridiculous. They scored 48 on Auburn. Auburn's a disaster. Brian Harsin is going to get fired eventually. It's a matter of when he's getting fired. To me, it's inevitable. Syracuse. How about Syracuse? They're 6-0. The good old fruit. They beat NC State 24-9. Syracuse seems to be like a good team. Everybody has kind of rid the muscles out. They're going to lose something. They'll definitely lose, but not against NC State. They won 24-9. Kentucky, 2 straight L's. Will Levis comes back and beats Mississippi State 27-17. Chris Rodriguez Jr. has completely taken over, almost 200 rushing yards, and a dominant win for Kentucky. Kansas State drops their second straight loss. They're still a good team, but they faced Oklahoma that seemed to be a pissed off team. They got absolutely annihilated by Texas, 49-0. It was a team that was dead. Oklahoma comes back. I like the way they come back. Dylan Gabriel's back. Eric Gray went off. They dropped 52 points, but Oklahoma's defense, man, there's a talent gap. There is a big talent gap. Texas, they're 5-2. Texas is really starting to turn the table. They want the challenge for the Big 12. They only have one Big 12 loss, so they're still in the hunt. B.J. Robinson and Quinn Ewers seem to be a huge duo. They won on a close one, 44-21. Illinois, they look like contenders of the Big 10 West, as they won 26-14. DeVito and Chase Brown, deadly offensive duo. Minnesota, they had a 4-0 start. They looked like they were going to be something. Not really. They'll still make a bowl game. They're still a good team. But, man, Illinois is having a season they haven't had since 2007. James Madison drops their first game. They lost Georgia Southern in a shootout. How about the other games? Well, Colorado won their first game. Wonderful. They still suck. Miami bounces back to beat Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's 2-5. Good Lord. Arkansas drops 52 points. KJ Jefferson went crazy. Arkansas's offense played to their potential, and BYU's 4-3. It's always a good day when BYU is irrelevant, in my opinion. I don't know. Maryland's 5-2. They beat Indiana. That was a shootout. Michigan State wins against Wisconsin in overtime. Wisconsin looks so suspect. Washington with a huge bounce back win over Arizona, 49-39 in a shootout. LSU beats Florida 45-35. Jaden Daniels just not a great quarterback, but he looked like a good one that day. Purdue, how about Purdue's offense? Purdue finally seems to have a running game for once. I haven't seen them run the ball any successful at all since like DJ Knox was there. Yeah, Purdue. Though I was a little disappointed of Nebraska dropping 37 on them, but Purdue got 43 points. And man, Devin McElvey, he seems to be the answer at running back for Purdue. Notre Dame, godly, you lost to Stanford at home. Get out of here now. North Carolina, they're 6-1. They beat Duke on a shootout 38-35. That's what North Carolina has to do. Their defense is piss poor. So they're pretty much having to rely on their offense, and right now it's working. Oregon State with a huge win, they're 5-2. So that is kind of it for college football week 7. Let's get to the games of week 8. How about that? Let's get to week 8. That'll be interesting. Iowa takes Ohio State. Syracuse travels to Clemson. Both teams are coming into the season undefeated. That should be a fun matchup. Kansas travels to Baylor. That's a huge game for Kansas. If they can clinch this bowl game and really make the Baylor Bears tread water. That's kind of the mission of this. Ole Miss travels to LSU. LSU ain't no scrubs. This is a big game for Ole Miss. They need to prove their legitimacy, in my opinion, right here. They've got to be LSU on the road. Their defense has got to play better. They've got to play better. UCLA travels to Oregon. The Oregon with that one loss, they lost to Georgia, got dominated, but Oregon's been dominating everybody ever since. That should be a good-ass game. Texas travels to Oklahoma State. That should be another great game. Texas really hasn't answered a quarterback. Clint Ewers is going off. So that should be a good game. Purdue, hopefully they don't lose at Wisconsin again. Purdue just seems to never be able to win at Wisconsin. Mississippi State travels to Alabama. Let's see if Alabama can bounce back. Minnesota travels to Penn State. Kansas State plays TCU. That should be very entertaining. And now, let's get a little baseball. Why not? Let's do some baseball talk. So MLB playoffs really went off the corner. I'm going to talk about the teams that lost in the wild cards. So Cleveland Guardians, they beat the Rays. The Rays just couldn't hit. Guardians really couldn't hit too, but they had a walk-off home run by Gonzalez. That put in rest. Mariners swept the Blue Jays. The Mariners made a huge comeback from behind, and the Mariners clinched the division series for the first time in 21 years. The Mets continue to disappoint. 101 wins turns out to be a dud. They lost to the Padres in Game 3. Nobody could hit. Carl Bastigat, he just imploded. The Cardinals. This is why you do not. This is the dangers you have when you win by a bunch of bullshit. That's what the Cardinals have relied on. It's the one thing that pisses me off as a sports fan. I want to see teams really earn their victories. Cardinals really haven't done it that much. They were hot at the wrong time. It was like June, July, early August. They were on a hot streak. They slowed down. Goldschmidt slowed down hardcore, and they just had no answers for Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola. And the Phillies, a team that I thought, in my opinion, the Cardinals should have dominated them, but that, of course, did not happen. Game 1, they imploded, and Game 2 was it was one of those games where it was a slow and painful death. So 3 Cardinals greats that's been around for 15 years is gone. Pujols, a no-brainer first ballot. He's retired. In my opinion, he retired very good. He had his best season in years. He's kind of been on the slow slope of decline. He kind of had a good season, like a season you want to ride off into the sunset. An ideal season. 703 home runs, fourth all time. He's in top 10 in hits, second in RBIs, one of the best hitters to ever live. Yadier Molina, he's now gone. I think he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he will get there for sure. Not really for his hitting, but his pedigree, and he earned it. He earned it. Not big. I'm not a big Yadier Molina fan. I think he's a temperamental guy, but you know what? At the end of the day, it's irrelevant. He's a Hall of Famer. He'll get there. Adam Wainwright, I don't think he should be in the Hall of Fame. As good of a longevity he was, I just don't think he was that dominant. He had a couple years where he was dominant. Like he had, like in my opinion, a two-year runs. Like 2009 to 2010, he was elite. 2013 to 2014, he was elite, but really wasn't dominant in any other season. But like, he still had a phenomenal career. You know, he missed all of 2011 with a Tommy John injury. Had a couple of great seasons, a couple more elite seasons after that. Kind of declined, but the last couple of years, he's kind of finding like that old groove. Just knowing how to pitch, being a veteran type of pitcher. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer in my book, but still a great career. Let's get to the division series. The Braves. Oh my God. I really thought this is what pisses me off about the Braves. Every single time they're ridiculously good, choke city, and that's what Atlanta is. They're choke city. Choke city looks like they never left. They just, my God, you really are pathetic, Atlanta. You better thank God that Georgia's football program has overcame their own like choking because the Braves are bad. I really thought the Braves were going to the World Series again. They were the hottest team in baseball, and then they just ran into the Phillies. And I don't know. Did every player get aneurysm or something? What the hell? I don't know. The Mariners, great season. Just the Astros was just too well balanced, and they just have that it factor. They have that it factor. They have a purpose of playing. Just man, as good as a season the Mariners had, they just could not overcome the Astros. They were just too good of a team. Great season for the Mariners. The only thing I need to see of the Mariners is consistency. They were inconsistent the entire year, but they had enough guys to make the playoff push. Just wasn't there in the end. The Astros is just too well balanced. And the Astros are a surefire best team in baseball. Well, maybe the Dodgers, but wait. Hey guys, did y'all choke again? Oh yeah. What the hell? The greatest failure of baseball history, the Dodgers. Go out there, you win 111 games. You dominate everybody and everything. And you come to the playoffs, you face the fucking Padres, the same team that recruited a bunch of guys to try to challenge you. They disappointed all year long. You destroyed their asses, and yet you come to the NLDS stuff. Dave Roberts is going, I guarantee a World Series. Great. Wonderful. You choked. Your hitters disappointed. Your pitchers collapsed at the worst time. Again, this seems to be a trend of Dave Roberts. Man, is Dave Roberts that good of a manager? I don't think so. He needs to be ousted because, man, is he really being carried by talent? That's what I think was current. He ain't that good of a manager. Get out. Get out. Take your ass out of Los Angeles. Take your glory days to Boston where he made that crucial stolen base in 2004 because that's the best damn decision you made as your time there in this baseball world. It's 2004. It's 2022, buddy. You're not that good of a manager. Congratulations. You're on a team that is one of the best market, the second best market in baseball. You get talent after talent after talent after talent. You have this one historic season, and you just blew up. You just exploded, implosion, a nuclear disaster that has occurred in LA. You lost to the Padres, the same team that no, all the additions they had, just what they weren't going right, and yet they beat you. My God. Dave Roberts needs to get fired. I'm sorry. It's the same shit every fucking year with this guy. Great season, disappointed playoffs. Get out. Out of here, Dave Roberts. You're trash. You're carried by talent. Congratulations. The Yankees overcame kind of a slump. They kind of slumped in their first game. They were kind of slumping, but their last two wins, the Yankees got it going. Judge struggled early on. He pounded in and just the Yankees, they want to challenge. This is what the Yankees want. Round 3 against the Astros. Can they do it? Man, Houston's tough. Houston is so balanced. They're good at almost every spot. They really don't have a major weakness. It just the Yankees' over reliance on home runs. I just think it's what's happened against Houston. It's always hurt them. Aroldis Chapman ain't gonna pitch, so maybe that gives the Yankees a little bit more confidence. But man, can the Yankees really get past these Astros? They have a shot, but it's to the point where are they going to actually do it? So that's their choice. They gotta really get it going. The Phillies and the Padres playing the LDS. That should be a fun one. Who expected that? The Phillies have been mediocre all year, but they got a little bit of hot streak. Their hitters are hitting. All like it's not just one hitter gets going. All the entire group is getting it going for the Phillies, and it's working. Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola, in the postseason, they've been an absolute killer. They've been killers. The Padres, they just have that clutch factor. Josh Hader imploded like in the second half of the season. He's getting back to his old form, and he is really shutting it down. Like like this season, kind of were nervous when Josh Hader's on the mound, but in the postseason as of right now, he is shutting it down for the Padres. He was that closer that they desperately needed, and that's why they went out there and got him. So that'll be a little bit of an unorthodox episode, but nothing's ideal. I could have recorded last week, and I guess I have to make a little bit of a longer because I'm thinking that this is one of the best times of the year. You got all major sports seems to be playing at once in this period. The NBA season is going to start soon. The NHL season's just started. NFL's in full gear. College football's in full gear. Major League Baseball's in its playoffs. This is a weird time for sports. This is a very interesting time where you get every kind of league. It just seems to intertwine each other. So I'm enjoying it. I hope you too, and thank you for watching.